I've found that inevitably, as realtors find success, and when I'm defining success in this situation, I'm saying like they're starting to really get their feet under them. They have a steady lead flow. They're having more consistent closings. I've inevitably found as we have these conversations with people that they end up bumping their shins a little bit. They're running up against a ceiling, what we call the ceiling of complexity, right? Where they feel like there's too much going on. They're getting burnt out. They feel like the balls are dropping. They're just running around like with their chicken with their head cut off. And I feel like the next question usually is like, okay, I'm stuck. What in the world do I do now? And I feel like usually our answer is, as we help them process this, how do I get help? What do I do? What are your thoughts on that before we kind of jump into this next question that they have of what do I do to fix this problem?
I mean, like it's the inevitable next necessary step.
Right.
There's no long-term success without first going through that.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think the problem is that if we're successful, it's because we're rugged individuals. You know the story that we tell.
Right.
And if we're rugged individuals, that's the thing that got us through those first few chapters. Rugged individuals don't survive the first year or two. They die out.
Yep.
And that's good. They should. They don't belong in real estate. But if you are a rugged individual, you're going to get to a place where there's just too many things to do because there's no way to do this business solo eventually at certain levels of volume. Now, I will say this, that level is a lot higher than it used to be.
Oh my goodness, in the digital world of all the things. Yes, for sure.
I mean, dot loop is an amazing thing.
You can be in another country and helping write a contract. Yeah.
But you're going to get there eventually. Mm-hmm. And the big problem is that the same tendencies and skills and characteristics that got you to the place that you need help are exactly the things that are going to make you really, really bad typically at being willing to accept help, at knowing how to delegate effectively, because you just always figured out how to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You're a problem solver. You're a get-it-doner.
Yep.
And the problem with get-it-doners is they just keep getting it done. And so the issue is, one, like, when do I hire?
Yes.
What do I hand off? But then the bigger problem isn't that. The bigger problem is you are terrible at handing things off.
So true. So true. Yeah, I mean, and it is an ownership thing. As you're saying, like sometimes it's we have to help them self-realize, right? Like they don't really see that the problem is them as far as like, they do actually need some other hands. They can't be a solo artist forever. They need a team around them. And again, a team can look so many different things, but inevitably you do need other hands to help you do the things that you need to get done to continue to have success. Hard
to trust other people. It's very understandable. So,
yeah, definitely.
But again, what we tend to do is we try, hand some stuff off, and then inevitably the person that we hand it off to isn't as good as us.
Never. How could they be?
and then we would just go back to scratch and we're like, no, screw that. I can't trust other people. And many times the problem actually wasn't the other people. Many times was you didn't actually know your process. You didn't have it well documented. And
you didn't really know what you really wanted to give them to do either.
And you didn't invest carefully into that individual to get them to the place where they had an opportunity for success. So we're on a different topic here altogether, which is like delegation filter and learning
so many things.
But it all ties together into, the entrepreneurial struggle involves being a solo artist, figuring out how to get this done. And then at some point, there's an inevitable next step, which is learning success through others. And success through others is significantly more challenging.
But also the most rewarding. Well, it can be,
It's how you get true significance and freedom from your business. If it's just you, it's not a business.
Yeah. So what I want to do today, I do want to get to the point of like, who do I hire? A little bit of maybe what do I give them? But I want to help people see there are other steps to consider before you get to the point of hiring, right? So, remember, right, like there is a team around you. You're lucky enough here to have a team around you. So if you feel like there's things that maybe you're not properly utilizing the marketing team, the structure of the transaction support team around you, right? Like you do already have a team around you in our walls. So maybe we're not properly leveraging those relationships before you even need to consider like, I have to go hire somebody else. And then leveraging those relationships and the transaction support team you already have around you. Next step is like coverage. I mean, I think I've got to say coverage, right? I feel like this is the piece that people forget. Like they are so tied down in their business. They like literally can't take a weekend off, a night off, like, and things like that. So
what do you think people are not doing right in that first transition, survival to stability? We've got this admin team. We know we've got a remarkable team of people here, and we hear it all the time. We know our agents love our people. what could they be doing better to actually leverage the support team?
I mean, really understand what they can do for you, right? Like I feel like really, truly sitting down next to your TC or your task and going, okay, so how can we work more symbiotically together? Like what else should I be leveraging you for? Like what else can you do to help me out in this space that I'm not considering and being crazy and doing myself? So I think that's where I would start.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I used to have weekly TC meetings.
Yeah.
I just, every week I'd sit down with a pile of files and we just kind of talk through where they were at on each of them. And most of the time they had everything they needed. They were doing what, but I didn't know where they were at. But it was closing the loop. Yeah.
It was closing the loop.
And so, I mean, yeah, some of it's just, seems like it's just mentally acknowledging the fact that these aren't just some wheels in a cog back there in a machine that are invisible.
Yes.
This is as if I had gone and hired. A small amount of an ASC, a small amount of a TC, a small amount of reload accounting. It's really hard to think about it. Now, you can't probably have meetings with accounting every week, but you can understand the process and get face-to-face and interact about how you want the money to flow. And
that made me think of the systems that we do have, right? So even understanding the systems that team is operating within, understanding as small as the TCs operate and where they operate in dot loop to like, you can close some of the loops without even having to sit down, but it's just acknowledging and knowing where to go for that information to close those loops. So let's talk about then, so we've can learn to leverage our team a little bit better. And then you've got to figure out how to get coverage. Like again, you've got to have a trusted agent that however you're going to operate within that, you've got to find someone that you trust so you can step away and at least for a little bit.
Coach this in survival stability this is really just sort of like a buddy system, right?
Honestly, that's how I started. Yeah.
I leave town for a week. I've got someone that I've already lined up that can watch my business, whether it's for a fee or not. It can be just I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
There's lots of ways you can structure that.
But those two things are step one.
Yes, you must have a plan in place for those and realize who you do have already a team around you. So consider all of those things before you're like, I have to hire someone for help at this point. Next step is, okay, we're starting to think about where we can spend money to actually hand to somebody else, right? Like, so this outsourcing idea, some of it does require payment, some of it doesn't. So the next step for me before hiring is outsourcing. So what are some of the things that we can consider maybe thinking of outsourcing before we actually have to start hiring somebody that's ours?
It's funny, you're asking me these questions. I actually think you're the expert advisor on most of these questions, but I mean, I'd start with the obvious. I think no one should be doing their own listing photography at this point.
Yeah.
And then there's obvious things. A lot of listing management actually can be outsourced. So whether it's signs or changing out pending signs, etc. Back in my day, it was like delivering freaking flyers to properties. Thank goodness we don't do that anymore.
Good. Yeah.
But what are the other primary areas of outsourcing?
I mean, sometimes we have people that hire like literally like in this kind of outsourcing running, like it's like running to put signs in the ground. It's running to drop off checks. It's running to drop off abstracts. It's kind of outsourcing some of those low level administrative duties that are just like, I need an extra set of hands, just kind of doing the things that out and about that I need to have done.
I think what's interesting about this is it's worth saying up front. I think this is going to be different for everybody.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's a really,
I think for some agents, the best thing they can outsource is actually a bunch of personal stuff. Like outsourcing,
please help me
pick up kids or groceries.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And we've had people do that. I remember back in the day, Megan just had a driver for a while because it was simply a function of just if I could do work while going back and forth from
spend
place
the 20 minutes working instead of 20 minutes driving.
So and maybe we'll get to that topic because I think that's really part of the biggest insight here is that you've got to first understand your business. This isn't linear and it's not like
the perfect formula.
Correct. But I think it's clear to state that certain parts of the listing management process, certain parts of getting things back and forth are no-brainers to outsource. The other thing might be transaction coordination work. Some of that is like easily packaged. And you can just, as a paid-for service, you can have someone that you don't have to hire facilitate some of that on your behalf. But for the most part, what I've figured out is I think our TCs are doing the significant majority of that work.
Yeah, I agree.
And paying for somebody else to do that really is a duplication of payment. It's more the delivery component of that I think actually provides convenience. And so rather than pay for a full TC on a file, I think the answer is to find a way to get like the basic, how to get that abstract picked up. Running is a good way to think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are all the levels that I want everybody just to consider before you're thinking, because I think the biggest next step is I have to assign a number to then someone who is going to be my person. So we're stepping into the world of actually maybe hiring some administrative help in this capacity. So I want to help imagine what those levels are as well. So I think the first level that I would highly recommend considering is some sort of, well, I can interchange these first two, but a VA, right? Like there are so many, we even have one, right? But there's so many great sources, great companies that like all they do is virtual assistants. And I think that's a really cool maybe offshoot that people don't think about considering first. You don't have to have a body that comes into the office and does the things first. Maybe a VA is a good place to start.
Question mark.
I mean, yeah, but it really depends on what you want them to do. Yes, 100%.
We have team members, full-time employees in Mexico.
Yes.
And I know that we've got a lot of agents over the years that have used VAs, and I think that there's great services for this. You got to have the right expectations here, and you got to understand that this has to be packaged, standardized operational work that can be put in a box and outsourced so that someone can do that job. I think the VA thing, but just because of the geography implications of this,
you do need to consider that.
It's got to be projects in a box that can be conducted. I'm curious, would you start with VA?
I know, I have a next level. Go, keep going.
Well, what's your next one? Is it agent?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I'm interested.
I can flip-flop these depending on what you need first, potentially.
I'd almost put the agent one first simply because it's more accessible.
Yeah.
And so the agent one, I'm not sure what you mean, but I mean a newer agent in the company that's hungry, ready, willing, and able. They're learning. They want more business. You don't have to give them business necessarily, but they would kill for $20-30 an hour just at the low level, just show properties even. I know we've got a lot of agents that pay for showings.
Yep.
That to me is another great thing with the right clients that you can quote unquote outsource.
Yep.
But in my mind, what you get out of that is better proximity.
Yes, because there's somebody in your office potentially. Yep.
You get someone that understands at least the majority of the business and how you're doing what you're doing. And then there's variability and flexibility in that. So to me, that's a smaller commitment. I can find someone that's already in our walls, knows what we do and knows our talk. And I can say, hey, would you be willing to handle a few of these things? And that typically is a really, really win-win. Actually, I'd call it a win-win-win because I think we're winning.
Oh, absolutely.
When this happens as well.
I see. Yeah, there's so much opportunity for shadowing and learning, even for that agent that's doing the work for you. Like they're seeing an expert. They're seeing somebody that's doing the things and learning so much. Then that's a huge opportunity for them as well.
How we can foster even more of that, like a apprenticeship program where anyone that's in new agent training has a capacity to raise their hand. Yeah. So that we
have that in some capacity. Yeah, we have that in some capacity with like showing help open house, but it's not as formalized. I think there could be some opportunity.
Well, it's one of the best ways for everyone to win and for new agents to learn and for you to get some additional support from someone that understands the game.
And I like that you said too, low level of commitment, right? You're not signing a contract for that necessarily for like, we are contracting, you could for this many hours a week or whatever, but it can be more fluid and flexible and a little less scary.
Fluid on both ends because this new agent within a few months sometimes is doing more business than you.
So it may not last for a long time, but you'll see. Yeah. I just, again, stretch your imagination. Where else can you start other than feeling like you have to cross that line and actually spend money consistently to have this?
You're looking for creative ways to
solve the problem, get help,
get assistance without having to make a hiring commitment.
Yeah, because I think that's the biggest level that people are most afraid of.
Well,
right?
I used to pay in red wine.
Ooh.
For red wine and rom-coms.
Okay.
Was how I paid my wife.
Oh, okay. There we go.
To sit on the carpet with me and do
Stuff
all
envelopes.
that. We did door hangers.
Yes.
And we did all sorts of stuff back in the day. And yeah, I mean, it's a family.
I was going to say kids, family for sure.
And a lot of our team do that. And I think that's great. I mean, back in the day, I used to hire a bunch of high school kids to do random
heard
things.
These stories.
And, so I don't know. Other than that, I think it's, let me say it this way. There's a million solutions to almost any problem. I think the bigger problem isn't finding creative ways to solve the problem. It's getting to the point that you decide to make the commitment. And I think this is the point in the conversation where Oh man, I think one of the breakthroughs I had years ago. Now we already had a bunch of team members, and we probably had 10, 15 W-2 employees at this point, but it was a breakthrough at Strategic Coach. And it was, I forget the title of the topic, but it was like the cost of a hire, or understanding the cost of hire. Do you remember this conversation at all?
I don't think I've had this one. No.
I thought this was really, really profound, and this is worth everyone hearing. First of all, we think of hiring someone as an expense.
Yes, and it's scary.
First point is you must change that. Think about it as an investment, and then think about the investment very, very carefully. The reason we struggle with this, one, we're bad at delegating. We don't trust ourselves in this.
We don't have systems.
We need to learn how to do this. But learning how to do this is no different than learning how to sell real estate. You learned that, and now you can learn this.
It's a decision.
So there is a decision to be made, and there's a skill set to develop for sure. But if you consider the investment for a second of hiring someone part-time, full-time, doesn't matter, versus any other investment. Let's just pretend that you had, let's use $10,000 because it's actually a part-time viable investment that you could choose to make next year.
Right.
I need help. I don't want to hire a full-time person, but I'm willing to invest $10,000 into finding a person that can handle a certain set of administrative duties for me. If you took that $10,000 and we compared investing it in part-time help or investing it in, let's just say, the stock market. Three major fundamental differences: stock market versus a person. In the stock market, one, you would have to invest all $10,000 up front to get your return. You'd have to put all the money there. Whereas hiring a person,
you're paying it as you go.
You're just paying it incrementally along the way. So there's no massive upside, upfront investment.
Yes.
Point number two, on the stock market, there's actually a viable potential of losing all of that money.
Correct.
Because we're doing it along the way, and because we have complete control over this along the way, if you're willing to delegate properly and learn the skill, there's no real viable loss of all of that along the way. If you do a decent job of managing the person, that's the biggest caveat. But the third most important part of this is, like, what would the expected, anticipated sort of just
upside
minimum returns be? If you put $10,000 in the stock market, you might expect a 10, 15% return at most. And you'd be thrilled with that, right? That's what you get. So on 10, you'd get one. You'd get one, and then your principal back. The reality of hiring people is that on a $10,000 or full-time salary or whatever it might be, the minimum expectation any business owner that's doing a decent job would expect is a 2 or 3 or 4-fold on that investment.
Return. Yes.
And so there's no rational business owner that hires someone for a $10,000 investment and expects to get $11,000 total gain on their business, which in our world means a couple of sales. And I know we need to not talk about a couple of sales, but that is the reality of the metrics there. So the question you're asking yourself is, if I made this investment, how much more business could I actually expect to anticipate? My point is, the first step here is to recognize making that investment. It's super scary. One, you got to understand that investment you should be able to expect really, really healthy returns on. And then two, you've got to make the decision and then commit to the work to be done to learn the capability.
Yes, 100%.
The capability of packaging work to be done, of delegating and managing with a person, of success through others, which is
hard, but good.
Really hard, because that's 99% of what I do. I don't do very much anymore. Everything I do is help others do things. And so I'm more interested in that part of the conversation, because once you cross that bridge, what I've figured out is all the creative solutions start showing up. Whether it's your family or a friend or another agent or the real first bridge to cross here is the decision that you want to go from a rugged individual to a business owner, and that you recognize that the necessary next steps is going to figure out how to delegate part of the work to be done to someone else. And honestly, then options start. It's when the student's ready, the teacher appears. The options start to open up. Does that help or hurt?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I love it is really about the decision and the commitment, and the lens with which you see this, because that is the hardest step. Like, people do see that, but if you consider the return, that's a completely different way to filter that And maybe it doesn't seem so scary when you think of it that way.
And then change your tapes, because you're going to try and you're going to stub your toe. Kind of like when you went to your first open house and you tried to talk to people and you sucked at it. Like everything you've ever done, you had to learn
how to do.
And this is just like that. Managing people and delegating tasks to somebody else is a skill and a capability to learn, but you can't learn it by avoiding it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I love that. So let's keep going down. I like going down that path. I mean, so honestly, like, yeah, after low level, whatever, so hiring maybe part-time, going maybe to the full-time, when you're seeing the return and all the things that you get to do, committing to that person, learning and growing with you, giving more capability to your entire team. I think the next question that people, I mean, yeah, you have to have the box. I like the box that you said, right? Like you have to have the system that can be given to somebody. So that's a lot of decision and work to be done. But what are the things that really are, we've already talked about some of them, like get rid of your running, get rid of your transaction management. Like, what are some of the other things? Because people always ask me, like, well, what do I give this person? I have this person now. What do I give them? What do I want them to do? So what do you say to that? And again, it all depends. There's no perfect formula.
But some of the answers are relatively standardized,
obvious and standardized,
right?
Yeah.
Marketing is a big bucket.
Yep.
If you're a great marketer, then you probably want to own your marketing and do your marketing, and you're great holding a camera and talking.
Yep.
If you're not, but you need some top of mind awareness through social media, whatever it might be, that stuff's relatively easy to hand over. You just need to create clear expectations. I want this coverage. I want it here. I want it at this frequency. This is generally what I'm looking for.
Our audience, our message, like yes.
And we have a lot of templates, and we have a lot of creative help. Part of the marketing thing is if you're not a brilliant marketer, then you don't need brilliant marketing. What you need is top of mind awareness to your database and your people that are already there.
I can't stress that enough.
And whether it's listing marketing or pending sold type social posts or even just general top of mind awareness stuff, that's relatively easy to pass along.
And out.
Now, again, I think that's true if you're not a marketer. If you're a great marketer, a lot of the time you actually want to own that and grow that space. And you've got a videographer following you around. I think that transaction administration is another easy one to do. If you're great with your people, but the actual like diligence of managing the files, of keeping things properly organized, if it's a complete mess and stuff is everywhere, you might be someone that if you found someone that was more purple,
more administrative and executor. Yep.
Bring in an executor and an operations type person. They don't have to be your boss. They just have to be really, really...
keep you on track.
They have to be crazy like Anna, and they have to want everything to have a label and a color coding.
Hey, it's great to have those people.
They're wonderful. And if you can bring them in... So I think the transaction coordination space, because it's a relatively systematized space. There's a process. There's a flow through which every buyer pending goes. There's a flow through which every seller pending goes. Again, it's going to be work, because what you've probably done is just wung it. Up till now, you've just danced you've hopped. But if you're at a point where you can afford an assistant, or you're thinking about that investment, you've probably figured out a system. Yep. You just got to get that flow out of here
onto paper, so somebody else can follow it. I think that
we have a lot of that for you.
Yeah, we do. And the transaction support team, I go to that like kind of the next level, like that client, like you can systematize some of the experiences that are going to come up in the benchmarks, right? And everybody's like that's another administrative type thing. Like keep the system going, but you're upping the client experience. It can be not just the to-dos of the transaction as well. I think of that being
meaning
part
some of the client communications along the way, updates. Here's where we're at.
Hey, packaging the closing. Like that's something that's a lot of people. I have package the closing gift for me. Like this is what we do. This is how we do it. This is these people. Yeah.
Well, and then I think the third category, if we covered marketing, we covered transaction, would be what I would call the lead generation activities. It's not the actual. You never want to outsource the top of the funnel.
Yes, agreed.
But the capacity to do monthly items of value, putting Popeyes together,
all the things,
100%, or even just management, a little bit of the database in the sense of like, hey, here's who we need to be calling for birthdays today, or
personal notes. Here's the ones you need to do today. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, McKenna helps me every week with like, hey, who in Golden Circle should I be reaching out to, or who's got birthdays, or who's got, and so I'm not embarrassed to say I will not remember all that stuff. Someone can look at that for me and remind me what that needs to be, and so there's a lot of examples on is lead generation the right way to define that?
I mean, it's a part of your spokes. It's a part of your communication with your sphere, your top of
mind
awareness.
Communications. It's and I'm trying to think the extent to which some incubation actually can also be another category in the funnel. Yes, because if that's the database side, on the funnel side, certainly if you've got like really, really intense buyer searches, to have someone like know all your buyers, what they're looking for, and be actively engaging in what I would call more proactive
communication, direct
communication and searching is 100% something. Whether they actually communicate directly with your client or not, they can do it through you, but eyes and hands on what's going on in the marketplace with stuff like that. So look, there's multiple categories.
I like those buckets. That helps kind of frame some people's thinking there.
Yeah. And I think the way to get there is to do an audit. I mean, you just need to look at your business. And I think that's about asking where the, partly where the biggest pain points are, but also maybe where the biggest business needs are.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a two-tiered filter, right? Like, what do I know we need to be doing? And then the second filter would be, what do I know I absolutely suck at?
That's where I was going. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Which is maybe like the unique ability sort of conversation here. And, we've coached the ABC model.
Yep. It's one of my favorite resources to use to help you maybe self-realize.
Which is in the Forge and self-explanatory.
It's so good though. I mean, I think it helps you realize the things that really truly irritate you and things that are to eliminate at all costs. B's, like in the B category, those are the things to find someone else to do, to delegate, right? And then how do you get to spend more time in C space, right? Like the things that you love and that give you so much energy and joy. How do you get rid of the A and B so that you can spend more time in your C? So like, it's a really good self-analyzing filter of where you want to spend your time, which helps you realize what you need to hand off.
It is more about you. That's about your desires and motivations. And so you got to figure out you, and then you got to figure out what your business really needs. And then you got to find a third party that fills the gap between what the business needs and what you're actually not just willing to do. You're willing to do it all, but that's the problem.
You can't. Well, you truly can't at some of these levels.
And truthfully, you're actually bad at some of it.
And so it's not your unique ability.
And so it's wonderful to be around people that are better at things that I hate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually get joy from them. And so I think that's the game. So yeah, ABC model for auditing you.
Yep.
Sort of a business needs assessment. And then I think things like Colby and Strength Finder in analyzing people, and we've gotten really, really good at this, and we provide a lot of help and assistance.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
for people that are looking to do this,
hiring first time or 10th time.
Yep.
Us getting involved and helping you figure out what you actually need from a person. I know it's a game you guys play quite a bit. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So I think the ending kind of point here is that we've got this is a open-ended game, like whatever. I think it's the commitment, it's the decision. It's if you are going to continue to grow, you cannot continue to do this by yourself, right? And so then utilize the resources to maybe self-analyze through like things like ABC model, use things like business auditing, what's working, what's not working in the different spaces to realize what the business needs to be able to hand off, right? And then once you make the commitment, right, now it's about, I am now deciding that I'm going to get better at this idea of delegating, outsourcing, those kinds of things, right? Like, so then use the resources that we have in delegation module, team toolbox, all of that.
It's definitely one of the scariest parts of this thing for people.
Yeah.
And I understand and don't understand that because we've been doing this so long. And at this point, I'm at a place where, man, anything other than success through others feels just so foreign because we've got so many great people and we love working with our team. So if you're in that space, know that it feels like a leap. But one, it's necessary.
Absolutely necessary.
At some point, you're going to need to figure out how to leverage other great human beings. And when you get there, I think there's nothing better than having a great team around you that helps you achieve what you want to achieve and puts you in a place to go focus on the parts of the business that you truly love.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, guys, there's so many resources, but let us know how we can help. This is one that you and I know have a lot of conversations about, and we're actually really passionate about helping you kind of figure these next steps out. So reach out for help on this because I'd like to help you think through it.
We're awesome at this.
Well,
we're passionate.
We are passionate about helping you. Thanks, guys.